everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order, the Cumberland County Commissioners Salary Board. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner DeFilippo?
Present.
Commissioner Herzler?
Here.
Commissioner Eichelberger?
Present.
Deputy Controller Rosa?
Present.
Okay, is there any public comment? Seeing and hearing none, we'll look at the approval of the minutes of the meeting of March 28th. Are there any questions, comments, corrections on these minutes?
Move the approval of the salary board minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is approval of salary board action. Is there a motion?
Also move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any other business that could be brought in front of the salary board? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
You're adjourned. Please rise for the pledge of I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll call to order the Board of Commissioners meeting. Jen, could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner DeFilippo?
Present.
Commissioner Herzler?
Here.
Commissioner Eichelberger?
Present.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who has any public comment on any issue that is not already on today's agenda? All right, moving forward, we have minutes of March 24th and March 28th. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections on either of those minutes? Is there a motion for approval for both dates?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is the approval of public safety review team meeting minutes of March 30th. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections? Is there a motion for approval?
So.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of personnel transactions. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have a approval of a letter of support for House Bill 794 to support hotel tax legislation.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve a letter of support for House Bill 794.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Before you call the roll, Mr. Chairman, I just want to mention that, essentially this is the legislation that is currently pending in the Senate today. I understand there's subject to some possible amendments. But in any event, this letter just puts us on record in support of uniformity with respect to the rate of the hotel tax, around Pennsylvania. I want to emphasize, as I believe Commissioner DeFilippo did at the workshop, this does not mean that the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners is in favor of increasing the hotel tax at this time. But it does allow for essentially our consideration if this bill would become law. The way it's worked in Pennsylvania is there has been special legislation enacted by certain counties or enacted on behalf of certain counties to allow a higher hotel tax. This legislation just seeks to provide for some uniformity to grant all counties that option. So in any event, I wanted to explain that the legislation is still undergoing review and there may be an amendment or so today, but this would essentially just put us on record as favoring the bill so that we might have that opportunity to consider it at some point in the future. And again, so that we have the option like other counties have already had the option.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion, say
Aye.
aye. Motion carries. Next, we have approval of Cumberland County's Home Investment Partnerships Program budget revisions. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is the approval of memo and certification form provided by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Cumberland County Housing Authority, consistency with consolidated plan. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of resolution 2016-10 budget adjustments. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of the letter of support for Carlisle Borough's Tiger Construction Grant to fund transportation improvements in the borough of Carlisle. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have approval of resolution 2016-12, support of the Citizens Commission for Legislative Redistricting and Congressional Reappointment. Is there a motion? Apportionment, congressional reapportionment. Thank you, Commissioner Reitberger. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor of the
Mr.
motion,
Chairman.
say aye.
I'd like to make a few comments on this.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to thank the chairman for, advancing this proposal. It is frankly about good government in Pennsylvania. It's about the long overdue need for reform of the decennial process of legislative redistricting and congressional reapportionment. It's about removing to the fullest extent possible politics and partisanship from the once every 10-year exercise of drawing state legislative and congressional districts of near equal populations so that voters, instead of politicians, are the ones choosing their elected officials and not the other way around. The resolution we're hopefully about to adopt calls on our state lawmakers to take themselves out of the process with expeditious action on first session approval of a constitutional amendment that would assign the decennial task of legislative redistricting and congressional reapportionment to an independent citizens commission. It seeks to embrace core principles that are aimed at prohibiting districts from being drawn to favor or discriminate against a particular party or candidate, to ensure transparency, public input, and sound methodology with setting district boundaries, and to protect communities of interest and fully adhere to the constitutional mandate that no county, city, incorporated town, borough, township, or ward be divided unless absolutely necessary. And you might ask, or folks might want to know, so why is this important to Cumberland County? And it's important because we've been elected as county commissioners to serve the best interests of our county. And I want to underscore and emphasize nothing against any of our 3 state senators, our 6 state representatives, or 2 congressmen. But our county, come the next legislative redistricting and congressional reapportionment, should not be carved up as it was the last time around to suit the political whims of the party power brokers in Harrisburg. So in any event, this is a reform in the best interest of the 246,000 residents of Cumberland County, and I appreciate again the chairman's advancing this proposal for our consideration, and hopefully other counties might also take a similar position in support of this proposed constitutional amendment.
We have a motion. We have a second. Yes, sir.
If I may, my name is Tom DeWall. I'm a resident of Carlisle, been a resident of Cumberland County for 20 plus years. I'm the former executive director of Common Cause Pennsylvania, and with me is the current executive director of Common Cause Pennsylvania. Between the 2 of us, we've held that position for 37 or so years. And this has been a critical issue to Common Cause members and all people across the state for many years. As Commissioner Hertzler said, it's very important for counties not to be carved up into multiple districts, possibly ending up with a senator or representative who doesn't even live in that county, which has happened in Cumberland County and notoriously in Monroe County and other counties. So we appreciate your considering this resolution, and we hope that the legislature will take it to heart when this commission acts.
Thank you for your comments, sir. I know at this time there are, I think, at least 3 or 4 House and Senate bills floating around right now, so we'll see how it goes. Is there any other comment on this particular issue?
Just
Yes, go ahead.
we spoke about this at length, all 3 of us, I believe, on Thursday, so I don't want to spend a lot of time repeating what was said there, but I think it's worth noting for our friends in the media who are not here Thursday that we're not supporting any one piece of legislation. As Chairman mentioned, there are a number of pieces out there. We had some good discussion in here about what we could find consensus on. So this is a good common sense proposal here that does not obligate us toward supporting any one piece of legislation. We understand there's going to be, choice made, maybe some amendments made as well. So we thought, as a board, it was better to speak in terms of the principles behind this, and I think it's something that we covered at length, so I won't go on about it. But I'm a resident of the borough of Mechanicsburg, and we're one of the municipalities that got split virtually down the middle. I can throw a rock from where I reside and hit the next congressional district, and it's not supposed to be that way. So hopefully the legislature will be serious about adopting something in keeping with this. I'm personally gratified that the board was willing to back on one particular piece of legislation. I did have some concerns about the one proposal that was put forward because of constitutionality grounds that essentially demanded people not have any political or partisan involvement both before and after service on a citizens board. I think that would be subject to a court challenge very easily. So we have, and comments were made from the public as well. We have seen Cumberland County essentially being pulled apart through the latest redistricting. We have seen our voice as a county diminished at the same time we are a growing economic presence in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Now widely considered the fastest growing county. And we have a very unfortunate prospect that we won't have any home resident state senator. That is, that's just kind of defies common sense as far as I'm concerned. So we shouldn't be carved up to make safe districts for other districts and other counties around us. And I think adoption of this by the legislature would go a long way toward restoring the public's faith that was so shaken by the just egregious violations, constitutional and otherwise, that took place in the last reapportionment, which of course the boundaries weren't changed once, they were changed actually twice. So, and we all heard all the stories about all the dealings behind the scenes on those, some of which I heard firsthand from some of the folks involved in the process, extremely troubled. So this would be a step forward, and I'm happy to support this as well.
Yes, Frank.
My name is Frank Hope. I'm just a regular old citizen. I don't want to rehash or repeat. Commissioner Hertzler and Commissioner Eckleberg both said most of what I could possibly say. Just want to point out 1 or 2 other things. Not only are the county and the townships and the boroughs impacted by the splits, school districts are impacted too. Several of those, they have to deal with more than one legislator to get things accomplished, and that's something that I think is very important too. And I can't stress enough too that one of the good things that should come out of a citizens commission, assuming that it does actually come to be, would be a lot more transparency, as Commissioner Eichelberg referred to in the process and into how decisions were made or why things were split or whatever. And I want to thank you, commissioners, all of you, for considering this proposal. Thank you.
Mike, I just wanted to echo something that Frank said about, the transparency, and that's really important. And the last time around, when 12 municipalities, I'll just use that as an example, from western Cumberland County, were moved into the 30th senatorial district using a 1 mile stretch of mountains in Hopewell Township to hook us up to the 30th senatorial district. When that occurred, none of the local officials, none of the local residents in those 12 municipalities were notified or had any knowledge of it until after it had occurred. So, part of this process would be, again, with the Citizens Commission, open, transparent, allow for public input, and, most especially adhere to that provision of the Constitution that says that no county, no municipality be divided unless, absolutely necessary. Commissioner Eichelberger mentioned the fact, again, I have nothing against any of the members who represent us currently or those who are running for office this year. Has nothing to do with them individually. It has to do about, what is the process? Is it a good government process, or is it motivated by politics or partisanship? And, there's the potential that exists in this election to, for the first time in memory, we may end up with a state senator who does not reside in Cumberland County. So, of course, that's up to the will of the voters, and we'll find out how that happens. But we should, with our population, again, Gary mentioned it, we're the fastest growing county in the state of Pennsylvania. We are, and literally should be entitled to a state senate district all around.
All right, thank you. I want to thank both of my colleagues here for working together to put together what we think is a very positive resolution. Some that I have seen have been on the negative side. This is a positive resolution, and I think it gets the point across. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of resolution 2016-11, House Bill 1872. Is there a motion?
So,
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have item 14A through G, approval of contracts and grants. Is there a motion on items A through G?
for approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, item 15 is the Claremont Nursing and Rehab Center intergovernment transfer agreement. We'll start with a motion to approve the Department of Human Services intergovernmental transfer agreement provides for intergovernmental transfers of funds to the Department of Human Services in order to provide the non-federal share of medical assistance payments to county nursing facilities. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Next, entertain a motion to authorize staff to take the necessary steps to complete the transfer process with the condition that there are no changes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of bid award to Fayetteville Paving in the amount of $56,318.78 for paving and line painting at the Cumberland County Allen Road property. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have an approval to approach Rapid Transit to submit an agreement to Cumberland County for services requested for the use of written facility for Franklin County vehicles. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next we have approval of bid award for the lighting drive replacement project. We have 4 different motions. We'll take them one at a time. First is to issue notice of intention to award to Lobar for the lighted drive bridge replacement project at a price of $788,953.88. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
I'll be abstaining. I'm abstaining on this vote, and I will be on all the others. The recipient of the contract in Lobar is family relation to me. I have no financial interest in the business, but an interest of appearance and clarity. But I'm sure that there's no misperception that I'll be abstaining on all of these.
Very good, thank you. Next, motion to issue notice to proceed to Lobar for material procurement and fabrication. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is a motion to issue notice of award to Lobar and to authorize execution of the contract between Lobar and Cumberland County, subject to the consulting engineer and solicitor's approval. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Abstention. Motion carries. Finally, motion to issue notice to proceed to Lobar, subject to the consulting engineer's approval. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval to authorize advertising bids to provide transportation services for Cumberland County prison workers and inmates. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have the approval of bid for oxygen supplies and respiratory therapy services to Claremont Nursing and Rehab Center. We'll have 2 motions here. One is to reject the bid of life gas as bid being unresponsive. Is there a motion?
So,
Is there a second for the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is a motion to award bid to Columbia Ancillary Services for oxygen supplies and respiratory therapy services to Claremont Nursing and Rehab Center. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of general disbursements, transfer authorizations, items 21A through E. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Would like to report executive session on April 7th, 2016 to discuss personnel issues. Next is acceptance of monthly reports, clerk of court, voluntary recorder of deeds, register of wills, veterans affairs, and change of assessments. March. No action is needed on that. Correct. And there will be we have a request for an executive session after our meeting to discuss personnel issues. Is there any other business to come in front of the board today? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion for adjournment?
so
You're adjourned. Thank you.